Hey, this is Clint from CT Mad Mods, and this week I'm gonna try and get this diesel swapped Suzuki Samurai started. Of course, you know I got some help. Let's go. Anyways, so last weekend I actually came out here, brought my bus. I'll throw some clips in here. Is it a 13? Yeah. Thunder, you need Jesus, bro. Yeah, it's engaging. Boy, that thing looks so funky. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know if this is normal, but it's got a ton of play. All right, this is the next day. We couldn't get it started, so we gave up and we went four-wheeling.
Oh, that ain't good.
Got the Samurai muddy. Somebody just showed up. Is that an X90 on a flatbed? This must be Jed Carter. Said he was gonna stop by and check us out, help us get this diesel started this morning. Look at that unit. That's cool. Well, I didn't film it, but first order of business was put a starter in it because we smoked the starter yesterday, and immediately smoked the second starter, and immediately smoked the third starter. And then we put a fourth and a fifth starter in it, and now we've smoked that starter. My friend Jed came by trying to get this thing started. He's got a diesel swapped X90, and he couldn't even get his started. So we were having VW problems last weekend. Never got it started. I went through 5 starters. We have all these Suzuki sidekicks sitting out here. I just kept pulling starters and throwing new starters in and kept smoking starters. So I went to the parts store, I bought a brand new starter. I'm gonna throw a brand new starter on this thing. I'm gonna hook some jumper cables up to this thing, and I think ultimately the injector pump's not injecting. I'm gonna check timing, I'm gonna do a couple of things, I'm gonna see if I can get it cranked today, but I only have an hour where I can mess with this. I have a hot date with my wife, so let's get to it. After last weekend, I spent 10 hours on YouTube University learning about 1.6 liter VW diesels, and buddy, I could rebuild that thing in my bathtub. They are super simple. I guess the most complicated thing is the injector pump, and mine isn't pumping fuel. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get some Marvel Mystery oil or whatever, and I'm gonna pump it into that injector pump. And one of my buddies down on the Kenai Peninsula, Eric, who's got a Samurai that's diesel swapped, suggested that I try to get the injector pump going again by maybe putting some Marvel Mystery oil in it and you know, seeing if I can bring it back to life, let it sit in there for a few days. So I'm gonna do that today. I'm put a new starter in it, charge the battery. I'm just gonna kind of tinker with it. So we're here to just mess with it. If you have any suggestions on what I can do to get this thing running, man, throw it in the comments. All of that drives my content up to the top, and more people see this, and then I get more responses, and it's helpful for me because I'm not a diesel guy. I don't know much about them. Travis, the guy who sold me this, said that he wanted to confirm that this thing was getting fuel. So ultimately we found out that was completely empty. All the fuel lines were empty, and he said he pulled the top off of this injector pump and made sure that it was pumping. If you know anything about these, that's all part of the timing, and it does a whole lot more than just pump fuel. So I need to confirm timing, probably is one of the first things I got to do, but I got to pull that valve cover to do that, and I don't know if I'll feel like pulling the valve cover today. I'd really like to get this thing in the shop, but all of our trailers, this thing's too wide for our trailers with those tires on there, so I have a set of rollers I need to throw on here get it up on a trailer and get it back to the shop. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention is one of the reasons why they stopped driving this thing was because they thought they broke the transfer case. And what had happened was the two shifting rods inside the transfer case, that detent ball pops, and you can't get it out of four-wheel drive or into two-wheel drive, and etc. So you have to pull the shifter out of the top of the transfer case and get a screwdriver and pop it back into gear, or out of gear rather. And so I did that, and now it rolls freely. So the transfer case isn't broken. It's okay. I got a set of twin sticks I'm gonna throw in it eventually. And this thing's geared pretty low, so it's probably part of the issue. Using a little tiny transfer case out of a Samurai, so maybe we'll upgrade that someday. Let's see if we can get this thing started. All right, first order of business, I'm gonna go ahead and change that starter. It's pretty simple. You can reach right in there and grab it. It's a couple of 12 millimeters, and we'll throw a new starter on it. A couple of specialty tools that I brought is a push button start, the Lone Wolf 3000, and a jumper wire. It's probably that red wire there that goes from to that little relay that goes to the back of the injector pump. It goes to this wire right here, but I'm gonna just run it straight over to the battery because it seems like it's been losing power. It seems like it's not getting enough power whenever you crank on it. So I'm gonna charge the battery up, change that starter real quick. All right, let me show you what I got going on with this Lone Wolf 3000. It's just one of those parts house push buttons. And what I did was I put a female crimp with one of those little spade dealios, and this is the starter wire for your Suzuki starter from your ignition. And so I'll slip that on there, and then I'll slip this onto the starter, and that way I can crank it from out here. Just make sure it's out of gear. All right, now that that's all on, I'm gonna hook the battery back up and this jumper cable back up, and we're gonna crank on it a little bit, see what happens. Make sure it's out of gear. Sounds a lot better. All right, I know I can crank it over now. I'm gonna pump some mystery motor oil into that injector pump. What do they call these things? Pump. We're pumping it into the injector pump, and I can see fluid coming out, so that must be diesel. Let me tighten this hose clamp. Got a little bit of leakage. It's coming out of there. Made a little mess, but we got some mystery oil in there, and maybe it'll revitalize all those little seals and stuff. All right, let's take this back apart, and we're just gonna let this thing sit. I'm gonna go ahead and take this timing belt cover off, and it looks like the pump, there's a mark for the pump for the timing. I'm gonna check that too, see if there's any timing marks on these pulleys here, and see what kind of, see if it's on time. Maybe I just pull this valve cover too while I'm here, and confirm top dead center and just mess with the timing for a minute. I got about 1 more hour to mess with this, and then I gotta go. So can go ahead and kill my Samurai. There's no sense in it sitting here running because I don't think I'm gonna crank on this much more. But I do want to pull this timing cover off and see if I can verify timing. Like I said, I don't know much about these. I did watch a bunch of videos on YouTube, and just kind of to get a better grasp and understanding of how these little engines work. Lots of stuff out there about the TDI, not a whole lot about these. Whoever worked on this put some American bolts on it too, so lots of 11s and 13s. Yep. Come here, dude. Hey. Come here. Oh. Right by my feet. I'll grab a wrench. Thank God I had some Nipex. I don't have another 11. I don't have an 11 wrench for some reason. It's wild. Hey, I don't want you going wherever you're at. I don't like that. It was a big old crow. I thought it was an eagle. And I don't need my little man getting taken today. Golly, it's the longest bolt ever. Oops. Oh, that timing gear right there is in the way. Shoehorn this sucker out of here. Okay. Timing belt doesn't look horrible. Not seeing any paint marks for timing anywhere on these gears. All right, valve cover's coming off. Valve cover's just a bunch of 10 mils. Wish I had an impact. Well, aside from it being kind of dirty and oily, everything looks pretty good, huh? Maybe we ought to verify TDC. Yeah, everybody looks really good. From what I understand, to get to top dead center, these have to be facing up. I don't know. All right, I'm not sure. I have messed with this for quite a bit. I do know that there's a timing, there's a cut in the back of the cam that goes across the back. You can stick like a piece of 1/4-inch steel or one of those block off tools to make sure that it's on top dead center. And there's no timing marks on any of these pulleys. And I'm pretty sure these VWs, you time them off of the crank if you don't have timing marks. So I'm not sure. I tried loosening my injector pump. I think there's a bolt on the bottom that I can't reach, so I could clock it, because you can see that timing mark. There's a timing mark on the cover right there, and you can see it could be pushed back, but obviously this was running and the previous owner didn't mess with the timing. It was running and driving until it probably ran out of fuel and smoked that injector pump. So I just wanted to see if I could get the injector pump back up and running by putting some Marvel mystery oil in it and let it kind of settle for a few days. I need to put some different wheels and tires on here, some rollers, so I can put it on a trailer and get it back to the shop. And I'm gonna kind of button this stuff up real quick, and I gotta go. Told my wife I would be back at about noon. It takes me about an hour to get back to Anchorage. So I think I'm gonna leave it right there. I think this is a wrap. I did mess with it last week, and my intention is, I mean, obviously I'm not taking this thing moose hunting, and it's right in the middle of moose season. I don't even know if I'm going moose hunting this year, but I'm gonna get this thing in the shop here pretty soon. We're gonna get this thing running. I kind of have a basic understanding of how these VWs work, but if you have any suggestions or whatever, throw it in the comments. I'm willing to try anything at this point. I'm not sure why it's not running, other than it's probably the injector pump. I have a friend named Nick. He lives down on the Kenai Peninsula, and he's one of the Kenai boys. They have a bunch of VW swapped Samurais and Suzukis. My friend Eric got on Facebook Messenger and told me, hey, you need to reach out to Nick, but he's hunting. He'll be back on the 12th. Today's the 13th. So I don't know. I think I need an injector pump. This one isn't working. Oh, let me try one more thing. I didn't put the jumper. And I bet you a bunch of y'all were screaming, hey, you didn't put the jumper on there. It's not getting power. So let me put that jumper on there. I'll try that real quick. I made a jumper wire and I forgot, because I was gonna jumper this wire right here. This is for that relay that's in the injector pump. All right, let me connect this here. Oops. Connect that there, and then I'm gonna connect it here. You should hear a click. I can hear it. It goes tick, 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 tick. All right, I'm gonna have to shove this wire inside here. See if it makes any noise. Yeah, I can hear it. All right. We'll just hook this up like this. And I think we're a go here. Okay. I don't see the bubbles coming out of there, so leads me to believe that the injector pump's not going. Well, I tried it. I guess that's a wrap. I'm gonna go ahead and button all this up, and the next time you see this thing, I'll probably have a new injector pump. I don't think that one's working, and I need to figure out how to just verify timing. Like I was saying, they drove this thing a year ago. They were out driving it, and they lost that gear. It popped out of gear or whatever, and he thought he broke the transfer case, so they just parked it. It's been sitting ever since. And then, and you guys might know, he popped the top of that injector pump off and had his wife crank it over. And I'm wondering if maybe by doing that, it's out of timing or something like that. Like, do I need to pull that injector pump and set it back up on time? I just don't know anything about those injector pumps. So, man, I need some insight. Like, if y'all could give me some advice on that. But looks like Nick will be back in town in the next day or two. And whenever he does, I'll be able to kind of get some of his opinions and see what he has to say. But it looks like we're on the right path. Got a new starter in her and charged battery, and we'll just keep tinkering with it until we get her running. Anyways, if you watch my video to the end, I really appreciate you watching. Thanks for watching my video.